Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw, coming off of the WrestlePalooza PLE, the debut on ESPN. What did they do for the follow-up? Well, let's break it down. We did have a video package for WrestlePalooza, as typical. We also had LA Knight arriving to the arena, and as he was doing this, Rusev confronted Dirty Dominic Mysterio. More on that later. We had Cody Rhodes, the WWE Champion, making an appearance on Monday Night Raw. Why? Because WWE does not care about the brand split, but also Cody will be facing Raw's Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, 8 o'clock Eastern in the morning. That is when Crown Jewel will take place. Because it's in Perth, Australia, it will be very early. Cody was wearing his Crown Jewel ring, which you would think he'd be wearing it all year round just to make it important, but let's face it, it's not really that important. Seth Rollins and The Vision quickly interrupted. Rollins got on the mic and said, "May the best man win at Crown Jewel." He wanted to know what Cody thought of him. Cody said, "It's complicated, but it shouldn't be." Cody brought up how Rollins did make some questionable decisions over the past several months, but also Rollins changed the life and career of Cody Rhodes. He brought up their history, and Cody wanted to know what Rollins thinks of himself. Could be the best, but he's hiding behind The Vision. Rollins then responded by showing off his watch that Cody gave him. Said he hasn't worn it a single time until right there on Raw. He wanted to know if it was a real gift or if it was a token gesture. He said The Vision is the future of wrestling, and Rollins said he is the tip of that spear, not Cody. He said the truth will come out at Crown Jewel. He said that he will prove he is the alpha. Now, Cody brought up how their previous 3 matches were one-on-one. Cody wanted to know, will that be that way at Crown Jewel? And also, how many times did Seth Rollins win in those 3 matches, which we all know the answer is 0. Cody walked out, and The Vision stood there, right there, blocking the exit, but Seth Rollins gave them the signal to step aside and let Cody pass. And that was the end of the segment. It was all right. To be totally upfront, I don't really care about Crown Jewel that much. It comes off to me very much like a throwaway pay-per-view. We're doing the Crown Jewel matches, world champion versus world champion. Winner gets the Crown Jewel title that we won't see for another year. I don't know. It just feels like filler to me. Segment was all right, but fairly standard. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins again. I'm sure it will be a good match, but I feel like there's more interesting matches at this point. Like, we still have the Seth Rollins versus CM Punk feud to resolve. We got Roman Reigns, who should be coming back and may very well interfere at Crown Jewel, considering the fact that he is on the poster for the event and he should be done with Street Fighter by then. Wouldn't shock me if that's the finish, but we got a few weeks to see what happens and if we get any clues. But yeah, the segment was fine. Nothing too special, though. No big fireworks or anything. Backstage, we had Jimmy Uso questioning Jey Uso about wrestling LA Knight on Raw, considering that Jey got hurt at the PLE. But Jey said that they would have won if it wasn't for LA Knight, and he needs to take care of business. And Jey had his head bandaged up. He took a nasty hit, and there was some concern that he was potentially injured, but he did wrestle on the show and appears to be okay. So that's definitely a positive. We had our first match of the evening, which was a 6-way match. Well, 3-on-3, not a 6-way, 3-on-3 trios match. New Day and Grayson Waller, he has no nickname, versus Penta and the War Raiders. It was an entertaining TV hardcore no DQ match, whatever you want to call it. You had the kendo sticks per usual. You had Kofi doing the boom drop, putting Penta through a table on the outside of the ring. Now, unfortunately, Xavier blocked the camera's angle of the move and we missed it, but thankfully they got the replay and we saw it from a different camera. And then later, you had Eric power bombing both members of the New Day out of the corner. Ivar went for the moonsault, but New Day moved out of the way. But thankfully for them, Penta recovered, and Penta did first he put Kofi through a table that was set up in the corner, and then he finished off Grayson Waller with the Mexican Destroyer, but not any Mexican Destroyer. He did an avalanche Mexican Destroyer, and he got the win over lowercase g. That's what we're calling Grayson Waller. He is, in fact, lowercase g. Penta wins, and I agree that I would like to see Penta and Phoenix back together. They're still pushing Penta, though. They still see something in him, but I feel like there's more strength in the Lucha Brothers as a tag team, and they could beef up the tag division a little bit. We had Dominic Mysterio saying that the situation with Rusev is out of hand. He was complaining to the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor said Dominic should go ask El Grande Americano for help. But apparently he wasn't there. And then Dom asked McDonough, JD Mcdana, for help, but JD said he was busy. Roxanne Perez managed to talk him into helping, and Dom revealed that he already went to Adam Pearce and got JD versus Rusev signed for the show. Then Bayley was talking to Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley was all happy-go-lucky and excited. And she said that it was good to see Lyra. She wanted to know if Lyra would be in her corner, and Lyra reluctantly agreed to be out there for her. Then we had general manager Adam Pearce bringing out Stephanie Vaquer, who is the new women's champion. And it was a very basic segment. Stephanie put over Io Sky as an opponent, put over her dad for being in attendance, and he was also there on Raw. She also spoke in Spanish a little bit. She thanked the fans. They talked about Crown Jewel very briefly. Pyro went off, and that was that. I'm so conditioned to believe that we will have some sort of interference or interruption, and I was a little surprised that we didn't have anything. It was just her coming out there, cutting her promo, and she got her pyro, and that was that. So there you go. She will be facing the winner of the SmackDown title match at Crown Jewel. All right, Dave Scheffler sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Dave says it should be Whitney, Waller, Lucha Brothers by the end of the year. And what is my take on Rusev versus Dominic Mysterio? It's an interesting match choice because I really don't think Rusev should be the guy to dethrone Dominic for the Intercontinental title, but Rusev also should not be losing. I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those DQ matches and Rusev will have a new guy to feud with. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but I'd be surprised if there was an actual title change at this point because I just don't think Dominic needs to be losing it to Rusev. I still think it should be AJ Styles or maybe John Cena and have Cena drop it to AJ. By the way, John Cena went on social media and even teased the idea of a match with AJ Styles. So we'll see if that's something that we get sometime before Cena retires. But right now, my prediction is shenanigans for next week. Thank you, Dave, for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. We had Cody Rhodes backstage asking Jimmy about Jay, and Jimmy really wasn't sure. He wanted to know if Cody could talk to Jay, so Cody did that. He went over to Jey Uso, asked if Jay was okay. Jay said he was. He's okay, apparently. And Cody talked about his own struggles and said that Jay has family and friends and they believe in him. And Jay told Cody again to not worry. He'll get back to the top. Next up, we had Rusev versus JD Mcdana with Dominic Mysterio at ringside. Rusev dominated early on, but JD did get in some offense. He used his speed. He kicked the steel steps into Rusev. He threw Rusev into the ring post. He actually hit a moonsault, but Rusev kicked out, and then Rusev got the upper hand, of course, did the Mashka kick, put him in the accolade. Dominic acted like maybe he was going to do something, but was too scared to mess with Rusev, and JD tapped out. And then after the match was over, Finn Balor actually came out there to help JD. Dominic did nothing, and they did confirm for next week it will be Rusev challenging Dominic for the championship. Now, backstage, we had Io Sky talking to Asuka. Now, there was a match set up between Asuka and Rhea Ripley for the main event. There was a little backstage situation where Nikki Bella and Rhea were giving props to Stephanie, and then the Kabuki Warriors confronted them, and Rhea said she's sick of Asuka's attitude. She said she was ready for Asuka, and they had the match. But then backstage, Io said, Asuka doesn't really need to do the match, but Asuka insisted on it. She said she is going to take care of business. She's going to teach Rhea some respect. Next up, we had LA Knight interviewed before his match with Jey Uso. He said he's not going to try and hurt Jey, but he will if he needs to. We had our match, Jey versus LA Knight, Yeet versus Yeah. Very back and forth between these two. Jey avoiding the BFT, and then they traded shots. LA Knight built up momentum. He did the top rope elbow, but then the Brawns showed up, and stupid babyface LA Knight went after them, and it cost him. Jey Uso took advantage, hit the spear, came off the top with the Uso splash. 1, 2, 3. Jey wins, and then Jimmy runs down with the chair to help the Vision, or help LA Knight from being attacked by the Vision. You see, Jey just walked off, and it was Jimmy that went out there and saved LA Knight from a beatdown. Apparently, Dragunov is supposed to return at any time. Like, he should be back once they have a storyline for him. He is ready to go, and he is missed. I think he's a great wrestler and definitely deserves a spot on the Raw roster and could shake things up a little bit. But as far as this match goes, it was pretty much what you would expect. They're continuing this storyline with Jey Uso, and people think there might be a heel turn. Ian sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, is there a Jey Uso heel turn soon? I don't know if there's a heel turn. I know some people were pointing out that during the backstage segment with Cody, Jey was eyeing the title that Cody had. I just feel like it's too soon. With Jey as over as he is with the Yeet and everything, I think you need to wait a bit longer, at least another 6 months before you pull the trigger on that. You don't want to turn him too soon. I feel like it needs to be organic and not just, well, we need an opponent for Cody. Let's turn Jey Uso heel. if the fans start booing Jay, at that point, I would say, well, maybe this is the time to do it. But they still love Jay. He's out there doing the yeeting. The kids are with him. I don't know. I think it's too soon to go with that. And I still think like they're going to bury the hatchet, at least for Survivor Series. But perhaps next year they can consider turning Jay. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime in the near future. But we'll see. I've been wrong plenty of times before. We had our next segment, which was Becky Lynch. She was backstage, and she vented to Seth Rollins. She was complaining about everything, and Rollins was just looking at his watch from Cody. She said she's going to make an example, and she took her title, and she stormed off, and that was it for Becky on the show. No CM Punk on this week's Raw. No AJ Lee either. We'll see if they're back in the next couple of weeks. Maybe they're just taking some time off to celebrate, if you know what I mean. We had Io Sky and Rhea Ripley backstage, and Io wanted Rhea to call off the match, but Rhea said she can't do it. And Io was wondering if she could still trust Rhea Ripley. We also had Maxine Dupree looking for an opportunity, and I don't know where that's going, nor do I really care. And also AJ Styles and Dragon Lee were complaining about the multiple Americanos. There was a video package, so they're hyping up this trio group, the three Americanos, and AJ and Dragon Lee want two of them next week, and Pierce said that he'll make it happen. You know, I just thought of a funny thing. By the way, Otis is injured, to answer the comment in the chat room. I believe he's injured. Now, there's a potential third man here to help out AJ and Dragon Lee. What about Juan Cena? What if John Cena brings back the Juan Cena character just as a fun thing against Los Americanos? I mean, it feels like a throwaway segment for John Cena, but I'd be entertained by that. And you know what? They could have him show up as Juan Cena, and that doesn't count as part of the retirement tour. Like, he's got, 5 dates left? But what if just for fun, Juan Cena showed up and it doesn't count as a John Cena appearance? I don't know. I think that would be entertaining to bring that back as a one-off thing. Now, shout out to Building Nexus. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, do you think Roman Reigns stops the Usos breakup when he's back? Good point there. I think that very well could be the case here. Maybe, this is they're starting the build to Survivor Series. You got to look to the future. Survivor Series is almost certainly going to be Team Reigns versus Team Rollins. So you're going to have to get the Usos back together. So maybe over the next couple weeks, they have a falling out, but then it's Roman Reigns that gets the family back together, and they set up Survivor Series. I'm hoping they got a compelling direction here for Survivor Series, and yeah, that would not shock me if we get the segment where Roman Reigns has to get everybody back together. All right, now we got our main event of the show. And yes, very similar to like when Bret Hart got Owen and Bulldog back on the same page. I could definitely see something like that. All right, so main event was Rhea Ripley versus Asuka, which was a pretty good match. They got a good amount of time for this one. Back and forth competitive match with these two. And Rhea did some of her big moves, the superplex, the razor's edge. Asuka kicked out of those. And then Asuka got the upper hand and wanted to cheat. She wanted Kairi to take a cheap shot, but Kairi was conflicted. She would not do it. Asuka yelled at her, and then Asuka tried to finish off Rhea Ripley. She came off the second ropes, but then Rhea caught her with a drop kick, and then Kairi finally tried to help out. She went for the cheap shot, but Rhea blocked it. And then Asuka went to attack Rhea, but accidentally knocked Kairi off the apron. And then Rhea Ripley rolled up Asuka and got the 1-2-3 victory. Immediately after the match, Asuka used the mist on Rhea, blinding her. And Io Sky ran down, trying to calm things down. Asuka hugged Io, but then swerve. She kicked her, or actually, she did the spinning back fist first, then she kicked her. And she told Kairi to join in on the attack, and Kairi was distraught, but she did, in fact, attack Io as well. They got rid of Rhea Ripley, and then Kairi came off the top with the insane elbow to Io Sky. So we got the full turn. I mean, they've basically been heels. Well, at least Asuka has been. But now the full breakup with Io Sky. Very well done here. The ending to Raw was definitely the highlight of the show. And this storyline has basically carried it. All in all, I thought Raw was good, but I do think it lacked a bit of star power. As I mentioned earlier, no CM Punk, no AJ Lee, no John Cena, no Gunther. He should be back soon, though. And I feel like they're missed. And I stand by what I said last week. I really think we need that draft. We need to shake the rosters up a little bit because it is getting stale. It was nice to have a little bit of a change of pace with the end of the show with the women's segment instead of the usual Vision and whatnot. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag for Raw. I will go with a 6 because I do think the main event segment was very well done. The match was really good. And there were a few solid segments on the show, but there was also a lot of filler as well. And it did feel a bit like an off-season period. And we do have Crown Jewel, which to me very much feels like a second-rate show with the early start time. And they're doing the Crown Jewel matches. But I'm hopeful that things will pick up over the next couple of weeks. 6 out of 10 for me this week. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, also it's Roman Reigns' fault that Jay is acting like this. Well, you could say that because of Jay and what he's been through with the bloodline. But at the same time, you know, when you start losing a lot and it's hard to regain that momentum, you get frustrated. And that's what's going on with Jey Uso right now. But I do feel like they're all going to get back together. And if there is a Jey turn, I don't think it'll be until next year. But we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe the turn happens sooner than I'm thinking. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Much love and appreciation to you all. I'll be back Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern with the No DQ panel for the review. We'll be talking about the fallout from WrestlePalooza. Was it a C pay-per-view? Well, we'll be talking about that and more. Tune in then, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Until then, say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time. Enjoy the Weird Al concert, Matthew. Take care, everybody.